Hello everyone, back again with another video. This time, I wanted to briefly, I don't know how briefly, but briefly talk about the first book I've heard about and read this year that kind of broke my TBR pile, so to speak. Like, I had a stack of books that I was going to read, and then heard about this one, it came along and was just like, nope, you're getting a spot right now. And that book was episode 13 by Craig DiLouie. I heard about this on the podcast SFF Addicts, which, if I remember, I'll link to the channel, the YouTube channel they have down in the description. I heard it described as House of Leaves meets The Haunting of Hill House. Now, granted, I'm not sure whether they're referring to the Netflix adaptation that Mike Flanagan did, or whether they meant the book by Shirley Jackson, but either way, I loved the television adaptation, and I love the book House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. And so immediately I'm like, alright, sold, gotta buy this. The book itself is written in epistolary format, which, for those of you that don't know what that means, it's basically found footage, but for books. So, like how the novel Dracula is written in the form of, like, a bunch of diary, journal entries, newspaper clippings, etc. This is the same thing, but a more modern version. Which, the format is, it's based around this group of reality TV ghost hunters, paranormal investigation show. So you've got, the journal entries that would go up on the group's website. You have transcriptions of the actual footage that they shot for the titular episode 13. And just anything involving that kind of thing that you would expect to find. There's text messages, there's documents that are relevant to what they've got going on, just that sort of thing. I really enjoyed this book. I went through it in about a week and a half, roughly. I think. I don't know. I really ought to start keeping track of this. And it's not a very long book. It's about 430-something odd pages. So not, quite Sanderson length. Thank God. As much as I love his work, it is... Man, it can take a while to get through one of his books. Anyways... So, I went through it about a week and a half. I wouldn't say it's, fast-paced or anything. It's not, really. It does kind of, have a slow burn to start with. And then, man, does it really kind of pick up? In, somewhere in, the last third. So, a couple of things I do want to talk about just to, set a little bit of expectation for anybody that does read this book, because I do recommend it. I did enjoy it. If you like paranormal, if you like ghost stuff, supernatural, I don't really want to spoil something else, because it does take a turn. It starts out like, a haunting, and then I'd say about the halfway point, it just goes somewhere else. And you don't quite expect it. I know I didn't. There was a couple of times where something happened, and I was just like, okay. What did I just read? What just happened here? But in a fun way. So, there's that. And then the other thing... The comp of House of Leaves meets Haunting of Hill House. I definitely got the Haunting of Hill House vibes throughout the whole book, especially the start. I didn't really get the House of Leaves vibes course, when I think of House of Leaves, I think of a very twisty-turny book that you kind of have to really put some thought into and do some deep investigation, like, into the text itself, which, if anyone has read House of Leaves, you know what I mean. If you haven't, I also recommend it, but do be prepared to be kind of confused and wondering things and double backing through that giant bulk of a book. Do be prepared for all that. You're gonna have fun. And if, after you read the book, only after, I see you, that person that's not gonna read it, but is instead might look up the thing I'm about to tell you to look up after, don't do it. Read the book. Seriously. If after you're still a little lost or just want somebody to try and sit and walk you through some of it, there is an excellent 3-part series on YouTube that Nick Nocturne of Nightmind did, which I might also link down in the description. I don't know. I'll think about that. But again, only watch those videos after you read the book. But anyway, so I think when I think of House of Leaves, I think more like, you know, text that you really have to look into and kind of like sort of puzzle solve, which I didn't really see or find anything in episode 13 that was like my puzzle solving. If anyone's read this book and is somehow watching this take on it, and if I'm wrong, please tell me. Please tell me, please point it out to me. Like, don't outright tell me, just kind of be like, hey, you might want to look at this a little more closely. Or, you know, something like that. But the other thing in House of Leaves, like, that definitely gives a House of Leaves vibe. In House of Leaves, there is a house that does not exactly obey the laws of reality. And that definitely occurs. Something like that definitely occurs in episode 13. It's definitely, once you get to the section of the book entitled, I believe it's Day 4, this section entitled Day 4, is when you'll start really getting those vibes and see where House of Leaves inspiration or comparison comes from. Excuse me. But anyway, like I said, definitely worth a read. And again, that is episode 13 by Craig DiLouie. I don't know what else this man has written. I might look into him and see what else he's got. Like I said, I heard about this on the podcast SFF Addicts. And again, I'll link. I don't remember the episode where I heard it, but I will link the podcast down in the description below. If you like hearing writers talk about stuff, and if you like hearing people talk about books, which, if you're watching this video, I hope you do like hearing people talk about books, because, newsflash, that's kind of all I do here. Well, that's not all of it, I kind of just talk about whatever. Anyway, but I really like talking about books, and that's what I'm going to primarily do, because I don't have anybody to talk about books with. So, it's me, this camera, anybody that wants to watch, and the infinite void. That went someplace. And I don't have editing software to cut this out. And I really don't want to do another take of this. Professional and professional. Anyway, go check out the book. Rent it from the library. I don't know if it's on Audible or not. I didn't look. Anyway, go check it out. I will see you guys in the next one.